It's official. The WWE Universe just witnessed the most earth-shattering return in professional wrestling history, and what Roman Reigns revealed backstage will absolutely destroy everything you thought you knew about the current power structure in sports entertainment. This isn't just another comeback story. This is a nuclear-level bombshell that's about to reshape the entire landscape of WWE forever. The tribal chief didn't just return from his hospital stay. He came back with a devastating secret alliance that nobody saw coming, and the footage we're about to show you proves that the bloodline as we knew it is officially dead. What's rising from the ashes is something so unprecedented, so game-changing, that even WWE's top executives are reportedly in complete panic mode behind closed doors. Sources close to the situation are calling this the most shocking development in modern wrestling history. We're talking about alliances that break every rule, betrayals that cut deeper than family bonds, and a new faction so powerful that it threatens to completely dominate not just Crown Jewel, but the entire future of WWE. The wrestling world is about to be turned upside down, and you're getting the exclusive inside story first. Here's what nobody saw coming. Roman Reigns didn't just form any ordinary alliance. Multiple insiders confirm he's created what's being called the New Shield, with two of the most devastating forces in WWE, Fatu and Braun Strowman. But that's not even the most explosive part. Sources familiar with the backstage negotiations reveal that this alliance was orchestrated while Roman was supposedly recovering in the hospital, meaning this entire injury storyline was an elaborate setup for the most mind-blowing power play in WWE history. The implications are absolutely catastrophic for everyone involved. Paul Heyman's position is now in serious jeopardy. The original Bloodline members are reportedly furious about being left out of the loop, and WWE management is scrambling because this new faction is so powerful, it threatens to overshadow every other storyline heading into Crown Jewel. Documents obtained by sources close to the situation show that Roman's hospital stay was used as cover for secret meetings with both Fatu and Strowman. This wasn't a medical emergency. This was a strategic masterstroke that's about to send shockwaves through the entire wrestling industry. The level of deception involved is unprecedented, and the fallout is going to be legendary. We can now reveal that multiple witnesses to the backstage events have confirmed every detail of what we're about to expose. People familiar with WWE's inner circle have been feeding us information for weeks, and what they've shared will blow your mind. This isn't speculation anymore. We have exclusive footage, insider testimonies, and behind-the-scenes documentation that proves everything we're telling you. Sources close to Roman Reigns' camp confirm that the planning for this alliance began months ago, long before his supposed injury. Those close to the inner circle reveal that Fatu was personally recruited by Roman during secret meetings that took place away from WWE facilities. Word on the street is that Braun Strowman was the final piece of the puzzle, and his addition to the group was so shocking that even veteran WWE officials were caught completely off guard. Just confirmed through multiple sources, this new Shield isn't just about dominance in the ring, it's about completely restructuring the power dynamics backstage. Breaking developments suggest that Roman's influence now extends far beyond what anyone imagined possible. The evidence we're about to present will prove that this alliance has been in the works for far longer than anyone suspected, and the implications are absolutely earth-shattering. The comment section is going absolutely wild, with theories about what this means for the future of WWE, and honestly, you guys have been asking for this level of insider access for months. We're taking you behind closed doors to show you exactly how this nuclear-level alliance came together, and trust me, the truth is more twisted than any storyline WWE has ever produced. If you're already hooked by this insanity, smash that hype button, because this story gets 10x more explosive. Your hype points are literally what allows us to keep bringing you these exclusive behind-the-scenes revelations that the mainstream wrestling media won't touch. The internet collectively gasped when the first footage leaked, and now millions are talking about what this means for Crown Jewel and beyond. You're about to learn what WWE management desperately doesn't want you to know, the real story behind Roman's injury, the secret negotiations that created this alliance, and the devastating impact it's having on everyone from Paul Heyman to the original Bloodline members. Hearts stopped when this news first broke, and minds are about to be blown when you see the exclusive evidence we've obtained. This is the kind of content that changes the wrestling industry forever. Let's rewind to the beginning of this absolutely devastating saga, because what led to this nuclear moment has been building for months behind closed doors. The story actually starts way before Roman's supposed hospital visit. It begins with a series of secret meetings that took place in locations far from WWE's watchful eyes. Sources close to the situation reveal that Roman Reigns had been growing increasingly frustrated with the limitations of the traditional bloodline structure. People familiar with his mindset confirm that he felt constrained by family obligations and wanted to create something more powerful, more strategic, and more devastating than anything WWE had ever seen. The first crack in the foundation came during a private conversation between Roman and Jacob Fatu that witnesses describe as earth-shattering. Multiple sources verify that Roman approached Fatu with a proposition would change everything. The creation of a new faction that would combine the best elements of the original Shield with the raw power of Samoan wrestling royalty. But here's where it gets absolutely nuclear. Roman didn't stop with Fatu. Documents obtained by insiders show that he had been quietly studying Braun Strowman's career trajectory and identified him as the perfect third member for his vision. The combination of Roman's strategic genius, Fatu's explosive athleticism, and Strowman's overwhelming physical dominance would create an unstoppable force. Those close to the inner circle reveal that Roman spent weeks developing the psychological profile of this new alliance. He understood that the wrestling world was ready for something unprecedented, something that would break all the traditional rules about factions and family loyalty. The planning was so meticulous, so carefully orchestrated, that even WWE's top executives had no idea what was coming. Word on the street is that Roman's injury was the perfect cover for finalizing these negotiations. While everyone thought he was recovering, he was actually putting the finishing touches on the most game-changing alliance in modern wrestling history. The level of deception involved is legendary, and the implications are still sending shockwaves through the entire industry. Now, let me introduce you to the three men who are about to completely destroy the current power structure in WWE, because each of their backstories makes this alliance even more devastating than you could imagine. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief who refused to be limited by tradition. Sources familiar with his evolution reveal that Roman had grown tired of being seen as just another member of the Anoa'i family legacy. He wanted to create his own empire, one that would transcend bloodlines and establish him as the most powerful force in all of sports entertainment. Multiple insiders confirm that Roman's strategic mind had been working on this plan for months, studying every successful faction in wrestling history to create something unprecedented. Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, whose addition to this alliance is absolutely mind-blowing. People close to Fatu's camp reveal that he had been waiting for the perfect opportunity to align himself with Roman's vision. His combination of high-flying athleticism and devastating power makes him the perfect complement to Roman's calculated approach. Behind the scenes, sources confirm that Fatu's loyalty to this new vision runs deeper than family ties. It's about creating a legacy that will dominate WWE for years to come. Braun Strowman, the monster among men, whose inclusion in this group is the most shocking element of all. Witnesses to the negotiations describe Strowman as initially hesitant, but ultimately convinced by Roman's vision of total dominance. Those familiar with the discussions reveal that Strowman saw this alliance as his opportunity to finally achieve the level of success that had eluded him as a solo competitor. The psychological dynamics between these three men create a perfect storm of destruction. Roman provides the strategic leadership and main event credibility. Fatu brings the explosive unpredictability and athletic brilliance. Strowman delivers the overwhelming physical dominance that can destroy any opposition. But here's what makes this alliance truly nuclear. Each man brings something the others lack, creating a synergy that's more powerful than the sum of its parts. Sources close to all three men confirm that their individual motivations align perfectly with the group's collective goal, complete and total domination of WWE. The chemistry between them is reportedly so intense that even veteran wrestlers are describing it as scary and unprecedented. The timeline of events that led to this earth-shattering moment reads like a thriller movie, and every detail proves that this alliance was planned with military precision. Let me walk you through the devastating sequence of events that nobody saw coming. 3 months ago, sources close to Roman Reigns confirm that he began having private conversations with trusted advisors about the limitations of the current bloodline structure. People familiar with these discussions reveal that Roman felt he needed to evolve beyond family obligations to achieve true dominance. 2 months ago, multiple witnesses verified that the first secret meeting between Roman and Jacob Fatu took place at a private location away from WWE facilities. Those present described the conversation as game-changing and absolutely explosive. This is when the foundation for the new alliance was first established. 6 weeks ago, documents obtained by insiders show that Roman began reaching out to Braun Strowman through intermediaries. The negotiations were so secretive that even WWE management had no idea these conversations were taking place. Sources familiar with the process describe it as unprecedented in terms of secrecy and strategic planning. 1 month ago, just confirmed through multiple sources, this is when Roman's supposed injury storyline was actually conceived as cover for finalizing the alliance. The level of deception involved is mind-blowing, with Roman using his hospital stay to conduct the final negotiations without any interference from WWE officials. 2 weeks ago, breaking developments reveal that all 3 men met together for the first time during what was supposed to be a routine visit to check on Roman's recovery. Witnesses to this meeting describe the energy as electric and absolutely devastating. This is when the new Shield was officially born. 1 week ago, people close to the situation confirmed that the final details were hammered out, including the dramatic reveal that would shock the wrestling world. The planning was so meticulous that even the timing of Roman's return was calculated for maximum impact. The day of the reveal, sources familiar with the backstage atmosphere describe it as nuclear and unprecedented. Even veteran WWE officials were caught completely off guard by the announcement. The shockwaves are still rippling through the entire wrestling industry, and the implications are only beginning to be understood. Looking back, there were warning signs that something nuclear was brewing, but absolutely nobody connected the dots until it was too late. The clues were hiding in plain sight, and the fact that everyone missed them makes this revelation even more devastating. Sources close to WWE's backstage operations reveal that Roman's behavior had been subtly different in the weeks leading up to his supposed injury. People familiar with his usual patterns noticed that he was having more private conversations and spending time with individuals outside his normal circle. Multiple insiders confirm that Jacob Fatu's presence around WWE events had increased significantly, but everyone assumed it was just family business. Those close to the inner circle now realize that these appearances were actually reconnaissance missions, allowing Fatu to study the current power dynamics and identify opportunities for disruption. The most shocking missed warning sign involves Braun Strowman. Witnesses to backstage interactions reveal that Strowman had been asking unusual questions about faction dynamics and alliance structures. At the time, people dismissed this as casual curiosity, but sources now confirm it was actually intelligence gathering for the alliance. Even Roman's supposed injury showed warning signs that everyone ignored. Medical sources familiar with the situation reveal that the injury's timing was suspiciously convenient, occurring just as Roman needed time away from the spotlight to finalize his plans. Word on the street is that several WWE officials had noticed unusual patterns in communication and meeting schedules, but nobody put the pieces together. The level of misdirection involved was so sophisticated that even experienced wrestling insiders were completely fooled. The most devastating missed sign was the complete silence from all 3 men about their future plans. In an industry where everyone talks, the fact that Roman, Fatu, and Strowman all went quiet should have been a massive red flag that something nuclear was brewing. But here's where it gets absolutely nuclear, and I need you to prepare yourself, because what I'm about to reveal will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about this situation. The formation of the new Shield isn't just about creating a powerful alliance. It's about Roman Reigns orchestrating the most devastating power grab in WWE history, and the evidence we've obtained proves that this goes deeper than anyone imagined. Sources close to the situation have confirmed that Roman's entire hospital storyline was an elaborate deception designed to provide cover for the most sophisticated faction-building operation WWE has ever seen. But that's not even the most shocking part. Multiple insiders reveal that Roman had been planning this alliance for over 6 months, using his position as tribal chief to gather intelligence on every major player in WWE and identify the perfect partners for his vision of total dominance. Documents obtained by people familiar with the negotiations show that Roman didn't just recruit Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman, he psychologically profiled them, studied their motivations, and crafted personalized pitches that would make the alliance irresistible to both men. The level of strategic planning involved is absolutely mind-blowing. But here's the most devastating revelation of all. Sources close to all three men confirm that this alliance was specifically designed to neutralize every other power structure in WWE. Roman identified Paul Heyman's influence, the original Bloodline's family dynamics, and management's control mechanisms as obstacles to his ultimate goal of complete dominance. The New Shield isn't just a faction, it's a weapon designed to destroy the existing power structure and replace it with something unprecedented. The implications are so earth-shattering that WWE executives are reportedly in emergency meetings trying to figure out how to respond to this nuclear-level development. Let me break down the absolutely devastating truth about how this alliance came together, because the details are more twisted than any storyline WWE has ever produced. We can now reveal the step-by-step process that Roman used to create the most powerful faction in wrestling history. Phase 1: Intelligence Gathering. Sources familiar with Roman's methods confirm that he spent months studying the psychological profiles of potential alliance partners. People close to the situation reveal that Roman identified Jacob Fatu's desire to step out of his family's shadow and Braun Strowman's frustration with his solo career trajectory as the perfect motivational triggers for recruitment. Phase 2: Strategic Isolation. Multiple witnesses verify that Roman began isolating himself from traditional WWE power structures, including distancing himself from Paul Heyman and the original Bloodline members. This wasn't random, it was calculated preparation for the alliance that would make those relationships obsolete. Phase 3: Secret Negotiations. Documents obtained by insiders show that Roman conducted a series of clandestine meetings with both Fatu and Strowman, using locations far from WWE facilities to avoid detection. Those present at these meetings described the conversations as absolutely electric and game-changing. Phase 4: The Deception Campaign. Just confirmed through multiple sources, Roman's injury was a complete fabrication designed to provide cover for finalizing the alliance. Medical sources familiar with the situation reveal that Roman was never seriously injured, but used the hospital storyline to conduct final negotiations without interference. Phase 5: The Psychological Binding. This is where it gets truly nuclear. Sources close to all three men confirm that Roman didn't just offer them an alliance, he created a shared vision of dominance that psychologically bound them together. The New Shield isn't held together by contracts or convenience. It's united by a common goal of total WWE domination. The most shocking element is how Roman manipulated the timing of his return. People familiar with the planning reveal that every aspect of the reveal was calculated for maximum psychological impact. The Backstage announcement wasn't spontaneous. It was the culmination of months of strategic planning designed to send shockwaves through the entire wrestling industry. Breaking developments suggest that this alliance has capabilities that go far beyond what anyone imagined possible. The combination of Roman's strategic genius, Fatu's explosive power, and Strowman's overwhelming dominance creates a faction that's literally unstoppable. The immediate reactions to this nuclear revelation have been absolutely devastating, and the fallout is still sending shockwaves through every level of WWE. Sources close to the Backstage area describe the atmosphere as electric with panic and unprecedented in terms of chaos. Paul Heyman's reaction was reportedly the most dramatic. Witnesses to his response describe him as visibly shaken and completely blindsided by Roman's betrayal. Multiple insiders confirm that Heyman had no advance warning about the alliance, despite his years of loyalty to Roman. People familiar with his emotional state reveal that he feels personally betrayed and professionally devastated by being left out of such a monumental decision. The original Bloodline members' reactions have been equally explosive. Sources close to the Usos confirm that they're furious about being excluded from Roman's new vision. Those familiar with their conversations reveal that they feel abandoned and replaced, with one insider describing their mood as absolutely livid and ready for war. WWE management's response has been nothing short of panic. Documents obtained by people close to executive meetings show that officials are scrambling to understand the implications of this alliance. The power dynamics they thought they controlled have been completely shattered, and sources confirm that emergency strategy sessions are happening around the clock. But here's the most shocking reaction of all. The wrestling community itself is divided between those who see this as brilliant strategic evolution and those who view it as the ultimate betrayal of wrestling tradition. Social media has exploded with debates about loyalty, family, and the future of WWE's power structure. Even veteran wrestlers are weighing in, with many describing the alliance as unprecedented and potentially industry-changing. The consensus among insiders is that this move will have consequences that extend far beyond Crown Jewel, potentially reshaping WWE's entire landscape for years to come. The social media explosion surrounding this revelation has been absolutely nuclear, with millions of wrestling fans dissecting every detail of the alliance and its implications. Twitter has been flooded with theories, reactions, and heated debates about what this means for the future of WWE. The hashtag #NewShield has been trending worldwide for hours, with fans sharing everything from shock reactions to detailed analysis of the strategic implications. Instagram stories are filled with wrestling personalities weighing in on the alliance, and YouTube channels are scrambling to produce emergency content covering the bombshell revelation. The most viral content has been the leaked backstage footage showing the moment Roman announced the alliance. The video has been viewed millions of times, with fans analyzing every facial expression and reaction from those present. Comment sections are absolutely exploding with theories about what comes next. The evidence we're about to show you is so damning, you need to hype this video to help us expose the truth that powerful people want buried. Your hype points are literally funding the kind of investigative work that brings you these exclusive revelations before anyone else gets them. TikTok has become ground zero for reaction videos, with wrestling fans creating content that's reaching audiences far beyond the typical WWE fan base. The cultural impact is extending into mainstream social media, proving that this alliance has captured attention on an unprecedented scale. The internet turned into detectives the moment this nuclear revelation dropped, and what they've uncovered makes the official story look like child's play. Wrestling fans have become investigative journalists, digging through months of footage, social media posts, and backstage reports to piece together the real timeline of this alliance. Reddit threads are filled with frame-by-frame analysis of recent WWE programming, with users identifying subtle interactions between Roman, Fatu, and Strowman that now seem like obvious clues. Twitter users have created detailed timelines showing suspicious patterns in all three men's behavior leading up to the reveal. The most dedicated fan investigators have even tracked travel patterns, noting that Roman, Fatu, and Strowman were all in the same cities on multiple occasions when they supposedly had no reason to be together. The level of detective work is absolutely mind-blowing, and it's revealing details that even WWE insiders missed. YouTube channels dedicated to wrestling analysis are producing multi-hour deep dives into every aspect of the alliance, with some creators uncovering evidence that suggests the planning began even earlier than our sources initially revealed. Multiple insider sources have now come forward with leaked evidence that proves this alliance is even more devastating than initially reported. Documents obtained by people familiar with the negotiations reveal that Roman's planning was so sophisticated, it included contingency plans for every possible scenario. Sources close to Jacob Fatu's camp have leaked text message screenshots showing discussions about the project dating back 4 months. Those familiar with the conversations confirm that the project was code for the New Shield alliance, proving that the planning timeline extends much further back than anyone suspected. Witnesses to backstage meetings have provided detailed accounts of Roman's recruitment strategy. One source describes seeing Roman present Braun Strowman with a detailed PowerPoint presentation outlining the benefits of joining the alliance. The level of professionalism and strategic thinking involved is unprecedented in wrestling faction formation. Audio recordings obtained by insiders capture conversations between Roman and his advisors, discussing the psychological profiles of potential alliance partners. The recordings reveal that Roman studied not just Fatu and Strowman's wrestling abilities, but their personal motivations, career frustrations, and psychological triggers. The most damning evidence comes from financial documents that show unusual payment patterns to consultants and advisors in the months leading up to the alliance formation. Sources familiar with these transactions confirm that Roman hired outside strategic consultants to help plan the alliance, treating it like a corporate merger rather than a wrestling storyline. Security footage from various locations shows Roman, Fatu, and Strowman meeting together weeks before the official announcement, completely contradicting the narrative that this was a spontaneous decision made during Roman's recovery. Behind the scenes, power struggles have erupted throughout WWE as the implications of this alliance become clear, and sources close to the situation describe the backstage atmosphere as absolutely toxic, with competing factions forming around different loyalties. Paul Heyman has reportedly been working overtime to maintain his relevance in the new power structure, but people familiar with his efforts describe them as desperate and increasingly futile. Multiple insiders confirm that Heyman's influence has been dramatically reduced, with Roman no longer seeking his counsel on major decisions. The original Bloodline members have formed their own opposition group, with sources close to the Usos revealing that they're actively recruiting allies to counter the New Shield's dominance. Those familiar with their strategy describe it as guerrilla warfare against Roman's new vision. WWE management is caught in the middle of these power struggles, trying to maintain control while dealing with a faction that operates independently of traditional authority structures. Documents obtained by insiders show that executives are struggling to find ways to manage the New Shield's influence without triggering a complete rebellion. The most shocking development is that other wrestlers are being forced to choose sides, creating a backstage environment that sources describe as more divided than ever before. The alliance hasn't just changed the power structure, it's created a civil war that's tearing WWE apart from the inside. The financial and legal implications of this alliance are absolutely staggering, with sources close to WWE's business operations revealing that the New Shield's formation has created unprecedented challenges for the company's management structure. Contract negotiations have become exponentially more complex, with Roman, Fatu, and Strowman now operating as a unified bargaining unit. Legal documents obtained by insiders show that their alliance includes profit-sharing agreements and joint decision-making clauses that give them unprecedented leverage over WWE management. The merchandising implications alone are worth millions, with sources familiar with WWE's retail operations confirming that New Shield merchandise is already in development, despite the alliance being announced just days ago. The speed of these business decisions proves that the commercial aspects were planned well in advance. Most shocking of all, financial sources reveal that the alliance includes provisions for joint appearances, shared revenue streams, and collective bargaining power that could fundamentally change how WWE negotiates with its top talent. The legal precedent being set could reshape the entire wrestling industry's business model. But that's not even the most shocking part of this absolutely nuclear situation, because what we've just uncovered makes everything we've told you so far look like a warm-up act. Sources close to the highest levels of WWE have just confirmed that the New Shield alliance is only the first phase of Roman's master plan, and what's coming next will completely destroy the wrestling industry as we know it. Multiple insiders familiar with Roman's long-term strategy reveal that he's been planning not just one alliance, but an entire network of interconnected factions that will give him control over every aspect of WWE programming. The New Shield isn't the end game. It's the foundation for something so unprecedented that even veteran wrestling executives are describing it as potentially industry-ending. Documents obtained by people close to Roman's inner circle show detailed plans for expanding his influence beyond just in-ring competition. We're talking about control over storylines, booking decisions, and even business operations. The scope of his ambition is absolutely mind-blowing, and the evidence proves that this alliance is just the beginning of the most devastating power grab in entertainment history. New evidence has emerged that proves Roman's planning extends far beyond what anyone imagined possible, and the documents we've obtained will absolutely blow your mind. Sources familiar with Roman's strategic planning have leaked internal memos showing that the NEWSHIELD alliance includes provisions for recruiting additional members from across the wrestling industry. The most shocking revelation comes from financial records that show Roman has been quietly building a war chest of resources to fund his expansion plans. Multiple sources confirm that he's been negotiating with wrestlers from other promotions, offering them unprecedented deals to join his growing empire. But here's where it gets truly nuclear. Leaked communications reveal that Roman has been in contact with former WWE executives and creative personnel, building a shadow organization that could potentially operate independently of WWE's traditional power structure. The level of strategic thinking involved is absolutely unprecedented. Security footage obtained by insiders shows Roman meeting with individuals whose sources identify as major players in the wrestling industry at locations far from WWE facilities. These meetings were so secretive that even Roman's closest associates were unaware they were taking place. The most damning evidence comes from encrypted communications that detail Roman's plans for Phase 2 of his strategy. While the specific details remain classified, sources familiar with the content describe it as absolutely earth-shattering and potentially industry-changing. The desperate responses from key players throughout WWE have been absolutely devastating to witness, with sources close to the situation describing a level of panic that's unprecedented in the company's history. Paul Heyman's attempts to maintain relevance have become increasingly frantic, with witnesses to his recent behavior describing him as completely unhinged and desperately trying to find a way back into Roman's inner circle. Multiple insiders confirm that Heyman has been reaching out to anyone with influence, trying to negotiate his way back into the power structure. WWE management's response has been equally desperate, with emergency meetings happening around the clock as executives try to figure out how to regain control of the situation. Documents obtained by sources close to these meetings reveal that officials are considering unprecedented measures to counter Roman's influence. The original Bloodline members have launched their own desperate campaign to undermine the NEWSHIELD, but people familiar with their efforts describe them as too little, too late. The power dynamics have shifted so dramatically that traditional approaches are proving completely ineffective against Roman's strategic superiority. Public opinion has shifted dramatically as more details about Roman's master plan emerge, with wrestling fans divided between those who admire his strategic brilliance and those who see him as a threat to everything they love about WWE. Social media sentiment analysis shows that the wrestling community is more polarized than ever before, with hashtags supporting and opposing the NEWSHIELD trending simultaneously. The cultural impact is extending far beyond wrestling, with mainstream media outlets covering the story as a business and entertainment phenomenon. This is the kind of content that changes industries. Show your support by hyping this video so more people see what's really happening. Your engagement is literally helping us expose the truth about the most significant power shift in wrestling history. The most shocking development is that Roman's strategic approach is being studied by business schools and leadership experts as an example of masterful organizational transformation. The alliance has transcended wrestling to become a case study in strategic planning and power acquisition that's influencing discussions across multiple industries. This isn't just about Roman Reigns anymore. This nuclear alliance has sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling industry, and the ripple effects are reaching levels that nobody anticipated. Sources close to competing wrestling promotions reveal that executives across the industry are scrambling to understand the implications of Roman's strategic masterstroke. The NEWSHIELD alliance has fundamentally changed how wrestling factions are perceived, with industry analysts describing it as the evolution of professional wrestling power structures. Multiple insiders confirm that other promotions are already attempting to replicate Roman's model, leading to a complete transformation of how wrestling alliances are formed and managed. But the impact extends far beyond just wrestling. Entertainment industry executives are studying Roman's approach as a blueprint for strategic alliance building in other sectors. The sophistication of his planning and execution has caught the attention of business leaders who see applications for his methods in corporate environments. Most shocking of all, sources familiar with wrestling industry economics reveal that the New Shield's formation has already influenced contract negotiations across multiple promotions, with wrestlers demanding alliance clauses and collective bargaining provisions that were unheard of just weeks ago. Industry-wide panic has gripped the wrestling world as the full implications of Roman's alliance become clear, with sources close to major promotions describing emergency strategy sessions and unprecedented changes to business operations. AEW executives are reportedly in crisis mode, with multiple insiders confirming that they're completely restructuring their talent acquisition strategy to counter the New Shield's influence. Documents obtained by people familiar with their planning show that they're offering unprecedented deals to prevent their top talent from being recruited by Roman's expanding network. Impact Wrestling sources reveal that their management is considering radical changes to their programming structure, recognizing that traditional approaches may no longer be effective in the new landscape Roman has created. The level of strategic adaptation happening across the industry is absolutely mind-blowing. Independent promotions are facing the most devastating impact, with sources close to several organizations confirming that they're struggling to compete for talent against Roman's sophisticated recruitment machine. The financial resources and strategic planning behind the New Shield Alliance have created advantages that smaller promotions simply cannot match. Most shocking of all, international wrestling organizations are reporting similar disruptions, with sources familiar with global wrestling markets confirming that Roman's influence is extending far beyond American wrestling. The alliance has created a ripple effect that's reshaping the entire worldwide wrestling landscape in ways that nobody anticipated. Other celebrities and major figures throughout the entertainment industry have been dramatically affected by the New Shield's formation, with sources close to Hollywood revealing that Roman's strategic approach is being studied and replicated across multiple entertainment sectors. A-list actors are reportedly hiring strategic consultants to help them form their own alliance networks, recognizing that Roman's model could be applied to film and television projects. Multiple insiders confirm that talent agencies are completely restructuring their approaches to client representation based on lessons learned from the New Shield's formation. Music industry executives are describing Roman's alliance as revolutionary and are attempting to apply similar strategies to artist management and record label operations. Sources familiar with these efforts reveal that major labels are forming unprecedented collaborative agreements inspired by Roman's approach. The most shocking development involves social media influencers and content creators who are forming alliance networks that mirror the New Shield structure. People familiar with these arrangements describe them as absolutely game-changing for digital content creation and monetization. Even traditional business leaders are taking notice, with Fortune 500 executives studying Roman's strategic planning methods for potential application in corporate environments. The alliance has transcended wrestling to become a case study in organizational transformation that's influencing decision-making across multiple industries. Sports figures from other disciplines are also forming similar alliances, recognizing that Roman's approach could revolutionize how athletes negotiate contracts and manage their careers. The cultural and social implications of the New Shield Alliance are absolutely staggering, extending far beyond wrestling into broader discussions about power, loyalty, and strategic thinking in modern society. Sociologists are studying the alliance as an example of how traditional power structures can be disrupted through strategic planning and psychological manipulation. Academic papers are being written about Roman's methods, with researchers describing his approach as a masterclass in organizational transformation. The alliance has sparked debates about loyalty versus ambition, with cultural commentators analyzing the ethical implications of Roman's strategic betrayals. These discussions are happening not just in wrestling communities, but in mainstream media and academic circles. Most significantly, the New Shield has become a symbol of how individuals can challenge established systems through careful planning and strategic alliance building. Sources close to business schools confirm that Roman's approach is being taught as a case study in leadership and strategic management courses. The psychological aspects of the alliance formation are being studied by behavioral experts who describe Roman's recruitment methods as sophisticated psychological manipulation that could have applications in various fields. The cultural impact is extending into discussions about influence, persuasion, and power dynamics that reach far beyond the wrestling industry. Where everyone stands now in this absolutely nuclear situation is more complex and devastating than anyone could have imagined, with power dynamics shifting daily as the full implications of the New Shield alliance continue to unfold. Roman Reigns has positioned himself as the undisputed power broker in WWE, with sources close to his camp confirming that he's operating with unprecedented autonomy and influence. Multiple insiders reveal that he's essentially functioning as a shadow CEO, making decisions that traditionally would require executive approval. Fatu and Braun Strowman have been elevated to positions of influence that sources describe as unprecedented for wrestlers of their experience level. People familiar with their new status confirm that they're involved in strategic planning sessions that were previously limited to top executives and veteran performers. Paul Heyman's position has been reduced to what insiders describe as ceremonial at best, with his traditional role as Roman's advisor effectively eliminated. Sources close to Heyman reveal that he's desperately trying to find a new role within the organization while maintaining what little influence he has left. The original Bloodline members remain in open rebellion, with sources confirming that they're actively working to undermine the New Shield's authority through backstage politics and strategic alliances with other disaffected wrestlers. Latest developments reveal that the situation is evolving at breakneck speed, with new, shocking revelations emerging daily that continue to reshape the wrestling landscape in unprecedented ways. Just confirmed through multiple sources, Roman has been conducting secret negotiations with wrestlers from other promotions, offering them positions in what insiders are calling Phase 2 of his expansion plan. The scope of his recruitment efforts is absolutely mind-blowing, with sources familiar with his target list describing it as industry-changing. Breaking developments show that WWE management is considering unprecedented measures to regain control, including potential contract restructuring and organizational changes that would fundamentally alter how the company operates. Documents obtained by people close to these discussions reveal that executives are in full panic mode. The most shocking recent development involves reports that Roman has been meeting with former WWE executives and creative personnel, potentially building a shadow organization that could operate independently of traditional WWE power structures. Sources describe these meetings as absolutely nuclear in their implications. New evidence suggests that the alliance's influence is extending beyond WWE, with other wrestling promotions reporting unusual recruitment approaches and strategic disruptions that bear the hallmarks of Roman's sophisticated planning methods. The ongoing legal and professional consequences of this alliance are absolutely devastating, with sources close to WWE's legal department revealing that the company is facing unprecedented challenges in managing the situation. Contract disputes are erupting throughout the organization as wrestlers demand alliance clauses and collective bargaining provisions similar to those negotiated by the New Shield. Legal documents obtained by insiders show that WWE's standard contract structure may need complete overhaul to address these new demands. Professional relationships throughout the industry have been permanently altered, with sources confirming that the alliance has created divisions that extend far beyond WWE into other wrestling promotions and entertainment companies. The level of disruption is being described as industry-changing by veteran wrestling executives. The most shocking legal development involves reports that Roman's alliance structure may have created precedents that could fundamentally change how wrestling contracts are negotiated industry-wide. Sources familiar with these implications describe them as potentially revolutionary for wrestler rights and compensation. This is the kind of content that changes industries. Show your support by hyping this video so more people see what's really happening. Your hype points are literally funding the investigative work that brings you these exclusive revelations about the most significant transformation in wrestling history. Regulatory bodies are reportedly examining the alliance's structure to determine if new oversight mechanisms are needed to manage similar arrangements in the future. What's coming next in this absolutely nuclear situation will blow your mind, because sources close to Roman's inner circle have revealed that the New Shield alliance is only the beginning of the most devastating transformation the wrestling industry has ever seen. Multiple insiders familiar with Roman's long-term strategy confirm that Phase 2 of his master plan involves recruiting talent from across the wrestling industry to create an interconnected network of alliances that would give him unprecedented control over professional wrestling as a whole. The scope of his ambition is absolutely mind-blowing, with documents showing detailed plans for expansion that extend far beyond WWE. Crown Jewel is being positioned as the official debut of the New Shield's dominance, but sources reveal that the event will also serve as a recruitment showcase for Phase 2. People familiar with the planning describe it as a coming-out party for the new wrestling world order that Roman is creating. The most shocking prediction comes from industry analysts who believe that Roman's approach could lead to the formation of a wrestlers' union or collective bargaining organization that would fundamentally change how the wrestling business operates. Sources close to these discussions describe the potential impact as revolutionary and industry-ending for traditional wrestling promotion structures. Financial experts predict that the New Shield's success could trigger a complete restructuring of wrestling economics, with talent gaining unprecedented leverage over promotions. The implications extend far beyond individual contracts to potentially reshape how wrestling content is produced, distributed, and monetized. Behind the scenes, sources reveal that Roman has already begun preliminary discussions about creating his own wrestling promotion, with the New Shield serving as the foundation for a completely independent organization that would compete directly with established companies. Unresolved mysteries surrounding this alliance continue to emerge, creating more questions than answers about the true scope of Roman's master plan and its ultimate implications for the wrestling industry. The biggest mystery involves the identity of Roman's strategic advisors and consultants. Sources confirm that he's been working with outside experts, but their identities remain classified. People familiar with these arrangements describe the advisors as major players in entertainment and business, whose involvement suggests that Roman's plans extend far beyond wrestling. Another unresolved question concerns the financial backing for Roman's expansion plans. Multiple sources confirm that he has access to significant resources, but the origin of this funding remains unclear. The sophistication of his operations suggests backing from major investors or entertainment companies. The most intriguing mystery involves reports of a master document that allegedly contains Roman's complete strategic plan for transforming the wrestling industry. Sources who claim to have seen portions of this document describe it as absolutely earth-shattering and potentially industry-ending, but its full contents remain unknown. Questions also remain about which other wrestlers and industry figures are secretly involved in Roman's network. Potential future revelations about this alliance could completely shatter everything we think we know about the wrestling industry, with sources hinting at developments that would make current revelations look like minor news stories. Insiders familiar with Roman's planning suggest that major announcements are coming that will reveal the true scope of his alliance network. People close to these developments describe them as nuclear-level bombshells that will completely reshape the wrestling landscape. The most anticipated revelation involves the potential disclosure of Roman's complete strategic plan, including detailed timelines for industry transformation and specific targets for recruitment and acquisition. Sources who have seen portions of this plan describe it as absolutely mind-blowing and potentially revolutionary. Financial revelations about the backing and resources supporting Roman's expansion could expose connections to major entertainment companies or investment groups that would explain the sophisticated nature of his operations. There are also hints about potential revelations involving other major wrestling figures who may be secretly involved in Roman's network, with sources suggesting that some of the industry's biggest names could be revealed as allies or targets. We're about to reveal the most shocking part. But first, if this expose has blown your mind, give it the hype it deserves. Your engagement is literally what allows us to continue bringing you these exclusive behind-the-scenes revelations that the mainstream wrestling media won't touch. The comment section is absolutely exploding with theories about what comes next, and honestly, you guys are connecting dots that even our sources haven't fully explored. This is exactly the kind of community-driven investigation that exposes the truth about what's really happening in the wrestling industry. Smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because this story is far from over. We're tracking developments in real time, and the next revelation could drop at any moment. Your subscription literally funds the kind of investigative work that brings you these nuclear-level exposés before anyone else gets them. The wrestling world will never be the same after this alliance, and we're going to be here documenting every shocking development as Roman's master plan continues to unfold. This is just the beginning of the most devastating transformation in wrestling history.